All right, Shalom. Back again with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rokah Kodash. I want to give double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and grace and peace to you elect around the four corners of the globe, believing and pushing this truth in all sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your houses. This is your fellow servant, Rokah, from the GMS Orlando camp, and this is 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, tonight I have a very informative video that I want to play after this recording that details a very key component regarding the infrastructure surrounding the M.O.T.B, all right, the mark of the beast. And one of those key components is surveillance. All right, surveillance. And the reason why I say surveillance is one of the key components surrounding the mark of the beast is because in order for Esau Edom to be as God, but so in the 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, he will have to have the ability to be omnipresent and omnipotent, like the Heavenly Father, meaning everywhere in all things at all times. Okay, and the way that Esau Edom is going about to achieve this goal, all right, to achieve being omnipresent and omnipotent, is through surveillance. One of the ways is through surveillance, all right, being able to survey everyone and everything on the planet Earth. All right. And the way that he's going about this is by implementing these different technologies. All right. First with the Amazon Flex, next with the Ring doorbell, and eventually it's going to lead into the RFID microchip, all right, which is the M.O.T.B, pursuant to Revelation 13 and 16. All right. And the reason why I brought this out in 2 Corinthians, the 2nd chapter, is because we're not ignorant of these devices. All right. The Lord gave us the jump, all right, on all of Esau's devices, all of his wicked counsels, all of his wicked deeds. All right, everything that he's been doing in the dark is now coming to light through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. And the men of the Lord are able to give warning to the nation of Israel of these things. All right, because surveillance is nothing new coming from the nation of Edom. All right, they've always had how do you say, infatuation, all right, with being able to surveil the nations. All right, being able to surveil their enemies, all right. Let's get this definition for surveillance. Matter of fact, from the etymology online, it reads oversight, supervision, a watch. It says to oversee, to watch, to monitor the actions and movements of suspect persons, outsiders, and dissidents. All right, and from the Greek Empire up until now, Esau Edom has had an infatuation with being able to surveil or have oversight over their enemies. All right, when you go into the Greeks and their symbol, all right, it was the eagle. When you go into the Romans and their symbol, it was the eagle. When you go into Spain and their symbol, it's the eagle. When you go into America, Babylon the Great, what is their symbol? The eagle. All right, and the eagle, when you go into it, is one of the highest flying birds, which is able to survey a vast portion of land when they reach their highest heights in the air. All right, so it's no coincidence, or it's no foreign concept that Esau Edom wants to be able to survey or have surveillance or practice that oversight over the nations. All right, this is a thing that he's been trying to accomplish for many generations now. And with his technological advancements, he's better able to achieve this goal, you know. But going back, let's read this again. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, right? Now, I mentioned 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter. We're going to get this as well before we move on to the article. So this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means. For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. All right, and that falling away happened when, during around 70 A.D., all right, when the Romans besieged Jerusalem, all right, and we fell away from our heritage, our culture, our language, and we began to fall away from the customs, the laws, statutes, and commandments that Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua gave us on Mount Sinai by the hand of Moses. All right, we began to fall away from these things, and now we find ourselves in the present condition that we're in now. All right, completely void of a culture, completely void of a nationality, completely void of a language, you know, that we can go back to that's ours, completely void of a land of origin. All right, just Negroes, Latinos, and natives in America. You see, so that falling away happened. All right, but now we're in the midst of the coming back. The Lord is reconciling the nation of Israel once again, all right, for this last time, all right, which the nation of Israel consists of you so-called Negroes, you so-called Latinos, and you so-called Native American Indians, all right. Now it says, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Now the man of sin and the son of perdition is being revealed here in these latter days to be none other than Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, all right. The nationality for the so-called white man on this earth is Edom. All right. That was their God-given nationality. There is no such thing as a white man. There's no such thing as a black man, a yellow man, a red man. It's nations. The Lord deals with nations. All right. And the son of perdition and the man of sin is being revealed to be the none other than the nation of Edom. All right. Chiefly the heads of the nation of Edom. All right. Amalek, which consists of the 13 head families, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Gettys, and so on and so forth. Those who control the banks, all right, the central bankers, all right, the central bankers, those who control the money, all right. It says in verse 4, who opposeth and exalt himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Okay, and this is what we see Esau Edom trying to accomplish in the earth right now. He's trying to accomplish being God. All right, he wants to be God. All right, and his ultimate stamp of him of marking himself as being God is going to be the mark of the beast, the RFID microchip. All right, but first he's setting up the infrastructure to support the M.O.T.B. All right. And a part of that infrastructure is surveillance. All right. Having an eye on everyone, which is no foreign concept. All right. When you go back to George Orwell. All right. If you ever heard about a man named George Orwell, he wrote a book in 1949. All right. Entitled 1984, which a lot of you should be privy to. If you're not, there's a movie on it. You know, you can watch that. It's very detailed. And it's a lot of parallels in that movie from what goes on in the movie into what we're experiencing now. All right, because another tactic of Esau Edom is foreshadowing. All right, he likes to put a lot of things in his movies, all right, a lot of things in his cartoons, and then he'll play it out in real life, just like The Simpsons. All right, he'll put little eggs in the cartoons or whatnot in the movies. Oh, this building is going to fall in this year, and oh, this disease is going to break out in this year, and it's going to be called this. And then, you know, time will go past and it'll happen. And it'll seem like as if he was able to predict, you know, what was going to happen in the future when he already had it planned. You see, that's another tactic of Esau Edom trying to make themselves as God. All right, having that foresight, you know, and which he really doesn't have. But this is from Wikipedia, and it's called Big Brother. All right, 1984. It says Big Brother is a fictional character and a symbol in George Orwell's dystopian 1949 novel 1984. When you go to this dude George Orwell, Eric Arthur Blair, all right, it says his work is characterized by lucid prose, biting social criticism, opposition to totalitarianism, and outspoken support of the modern democratic socialism. And the definition for totalitarian from the etymology online is complete, absolute, totalitarian. So like it's a tongue twister for me. All right. But basically it's alluding to complete control, absolute control. All right. Like a dictatorship. But it says, moving on, he is ostensibly the leader of Oceania, a totalitarian state wherein the ruling party, INSOG, wields total power for its own sake over their inhabitants. In the social society that Orwell describes, every citizen is under constant surveillance by the authorities, mainly by telescreens. Now, in the video that I'm going to play after this recording, is going to detail the surveillance that's being put in place nowadays, which closely resembles the surveillance in George Orwell's 1984, his novel 1984. All right, I really highly encourage you to look at the video after this clip. Lord's willingness is edifying unto the elect. All right, now it says, every citizen is under constant surveillance by the authorities, mainly by telescreens, which accept of the pros. The people are constantly reminded of this by the slogan, Big Brother is watching you, a maximum that is ubiquitously on display. All right, now, with that being said, we're going to play the clip. All right, so Lord's witness is edifying to the elect. And once again, all right, the reason why I say this video is very informative is because it shows how the world around us is being shaped and molded, and the infrastructures, and how the infrastructure is being set up to support the M.O.T.B, all right, which is one of the final prophecies contained within the book of Revelations, all right, before we can enter into the kingdom. So with that being said, Lord's witness is edifying unto the elect. All right, shalom.
Commercializing tech products is that the average person takes their understanding of technology from the advertising. Guys like me that try to explain what big tech is actually trying to sell you cannot fight the ad airtime. So you've likely heard of Amazon Sidewalk and heard of all the good things this is supposed to enable. You never heard any bad things, of course, just like you didn't hear about any bad things with Alexa Echo or the Ring cameras. I'm sure most of you don't clearly understand what Amazon Sidewalk is for or what it can do. And definitely you didn't know that it's actually Skynet. In any case, Amazon isn't going to try to explain to you how their product really works. All customers want to see is the end result, which presumably is some sort of convenience, but with no idea of the cost to your privacy. Before I start with that, let's first talk about Alexa Echoes. Alexa Echoes are ubiquitous. I got one as a Christmas gift. Some people donated one to me and I have to take it apart one of these days. Of course, I would never use one. It seems simple enough. It's a voice recognition device and it's great for selecting music and even doing quick internet searches. Supposedly fun when you're having a discussion at the dining table with friends and you have to ask some quick question to Alexa to end a debate. But truly the average person does not know that the Alexa Echo itself has no voice recognition capability. Nada. Alexa Echo is nothing but a small, low-powered Linux computer with a connection to the internet and a microphone. Its main task is to listen on the microphone, capture the audio, and then send that voice capture as a file to Amazon HQ. It does it all day. And then it gets a response back from Amazon as a text file, which it then synthesizes into a voice on the speaker. This happens in a cycle. When you speak, it will look for the wake-up word, but the CPU itself isn't much on a little echo. It is not powerful enough to do voice recognition, especially with different accents and different languages. So it keeps sending the sounds to Amazon to do voice recognition on the big Amazon servers in the cloud. After it confirms the wake-up word, it assumes the next words are a command, and those commands are then processed again by the Amazon servers, not by the little echo. The Amazon cloud servers. That's where the power is. This is why an Alexa Echo is so cheap. It just functions as a microphone and speaker. The problem here is that whether you like it or not, all your voice captures are sent to the Amazon cloud, where they then choose to transcribe what they need. For example, to determine a wake-up word or to understand the command. In theory, they don't transcribe your voice until they hear the wake-up word, but that is solely based on trust. There are always two parts to the voice collection. There's the actual raw voice recording and there's the transcription. We already know that they don't delete the voice recordings. It's in their terms of service. They admit to that. Supposedly, you can go to Amazon and delete the transcriptions of whatever transcriptions they do. But you and I don't know what happens to the voice recordings. Are they archived? They can then make a lot of claims that they don't do anything to it until it's transcribed. They do not make a clear distinction in the terms of service between the raw voice recordings and the transcription. And even if they do respect your privacy right now, it is in their power to change that policy in an instant. and even change it for an individual. And as you will discover, they do make changes. The point is, in plain black and white, we have an entity that can listen into most of America, every house with an Alexa Echo. And your safety in this is based simply on trust. Trust that Amazon won't screw you. Trust that Amazon won't change the software to do something else. Trust that those voice recordings will be private. That's a hell of a lot of trust to give. A couple of decades ago, the idea that we would put listening devices in every home and cameras a la 1984 would be unthinkable. Yet this generation of big tech executives have succeeded in making this issue go away. No one cares anymore, and it is shocking how a 180-degree change in attitudes was achieved. Privacy was snuffed, and no one complained. Next, Amazon bought the company Ring, and then they marketed these Ring cameras. But the specific focus has been on collecting the videos and centralizing it in the Amazon cloud. Then, Amazon made agreements with law enforcement that those entities can watch your videos, and you thought they were private. Again, you trusted Amazon. But here we are in 2021, and they will now make another change, and by default, you are opting in if you do nothing. The change is the addition of features to Alexa Echoes and Ring cameras, which enable something called Amazon Sidewalk. So before I explain the effect of this change, the point I want to make is that you trust a product will be as you buy it. It's supposed to be your device since you paid for it. But now your device will be used for something else because they didn't tell you that they put certain features in the Alexa Echo and the Ring camera that they would be utilizing later on, like now. And that feature, my friends, is a 900 megahertz transmitter and receiver that is built into the Echoes and the cameras. And I don't even know for sure if it's limited to 900 megahertz. There could be support for 433 megahertz and 2.4 gigahertz. Let me be very specific. These devices have been equipped with special radios since a couple of years ago, and that functionality was never mentioned before. Here are the specific models containing this special radio. Ring Floodlight Cam, Ring Spotlight Cam Wired, Ring Spotlight Cam Mount, Echo, Echo Dot, Echo Dot for Kids, Echo Dot with Clock, Echo Plus, Echo Show, Echo Spot, Echo Studio, Echo Input, Echo Flex. All these products will now work to create the Amazon Sidewalk network. So just to put it into perspective, the Echo captures voice conversations, the Ring camera captures videos, and now both will be sending and receiving radio transmission messages, and this RF traffic is not your traffic or necessarily tied to your activities. They will be controlled by an Amazon private network. There's a particular significance to the 900 megahertz band and the 433 megahertz band. These are ham radio bands, but a slice of it is reserved for industrial, scientific, and medical use. So these are called ISM bands, meaning they are used by unlicensed devices. What makes this special? Many devices use these frequencies to do device-to-device signaling. For example, it is the frequency used by phones, Bluetooth BLE, trackers like Tile and AirTag, RFID, security, and home automation devices. In other words, Amazon Echo has the capability to talk to or listen to devices in the area up to a range of 1/2 mile. So if there's another Echo around, all these Echoes and Ring cameras will be connected in a mesh network to sense the environment of electronic devices. This went online on June 8th. To make this even clearer, let me emphasize how this data is collected and stored. Everything I'm talking about here, including your voice, the camera videos, and now the data sent by the Amazon Sidewalk mesh, are all centralized. These devices capture this data, encrypts it, and sends it to Amazon so only Amazon can see it. Now your devices are doing things you can't even understand or see. These devices will now collect RF data, which will be used to capture information from devices and be able to derive locations. They will also be able to control devices since it is also a transmitter. Reminds me of the drones in the Terminator movie. It just gets a central command and they all start chasing Schwarzenegger. No internet required or Wi-Fi. just a private radio network. A radio network that is not even controlled by the owners of the devices. But most will basically turn a blind eye to this and say, oh well, I have nothing to hide anyway. Oh well, it doesn't cost me anything. There's this new approach being taken by Apple, Google, and Amazon that puts your devices to use for their purposes. The benefits will not accrue to you, but to Big Tech HQ. I remember the first approach by Google and Facebook and other platforms was to offer their stuff for free, so everyone gobbles up the free social media and free email and free storage. And people justified the selling of personal data as a necessary evil since you're getting stuff for free. But now the new approach is completely different. This time they steal your network, utilize your own devices as bots, and then sell the services back to you. The approach is to crowdsource the network and computing power of existing devices, which expands the capability of big tech, but not requiring them to spend much on an actual infrastructure. All they have to do is use your existing devices to function as bots for them, and the functionalities will be controlled by the HQs of the big tech companies. You will not even know what the devices are doing. They will just steal your internet bandwidth. This strategy of making your own devices work for the big tech giants has been going on for a while, but this new iteration is specific to Amazon. This mesh network is even more devious sounding. Amazon Sidewalk is now a secret encrypted network operating over the internet but using radio frequency. The idea of Amazon Sidewalk is that you will share your Amazon Echo to the world and then pass the traffic through your home internet connection. The advantage given to Amazon Sidewalk is that presumably all devices that are within range will then have indirect access to the internet and then can thus operate without Wi-Fi and while moving around on the streets or sidewalks. Precisely what devices will utilize this is not completely clear. One specific device that will use it is the Tile Tracker, which is the competitor to Apple AirTag. This will allow tile trackers to be located, but this is the same frequency used by many devices, including Bluetooth Low Energy or BLE. BLE was supposed to provide a personal network. Now even your personal devices will connect to the internet. Your house devices will connect to the internet. Your home automation devices will not be local. They will all be controlled from the outside, including by Amazon. Contact tracing will now be doable even on this network. But here's the main difference. The network is private to Amazon. So let me state the technology in simple terms. Once again, Amazon has created a voice capture network that can listen in to most people, including your guests, a camera that can capture who goes in and out of your house with facial recognition. All this information is kept in a central database and shared with law enforcement and their contractors. Now there's an RF network available to pretty much any device that wants to pass data over the airwaves using a built-in network available on every sidewalk without needing anything more than the ability to talk on 900 megahertz. Tracking a tile device is one thing, but remember that this is bidirectional communications, meaning it could enable remote control of devices without internet or cell data from Amazon. There are so many Amazon Echoes that every square inch of a big city could be completely covered by this mesh network. It will be an Amazon private network running over the internet. A large part of the population will still not understand the implications of this and say, so what? So they can spy on me. Big deal. Well, let's frame this for the future. This technology cannot be undone. Since there's a large group of people with these devices, there's no way to stop it unless you go door to door in your neighborhood and hit an area half a mile square and begin massive destruction of Alexa Echoes. Remember that location of each Echo is known, so whatever the Echo finds is also a location beacon. If you want out of this spy network, you can't just opt out of Alexa Echo because you have to opt out the entire neighborhood. As long as there's someone within half a mile that has an Echo, you're zucked. This will mean that new devices will be able to be controlled directly by Amazon, even though they're not even directly connected to your Wi-Fi. You are deeply embedded in this elaborate surveillance network. And that includes people like me who has no Amazon Echo or Ring cameras. If I went to someone's house with a Ring camera and an Echo, I suddenly participate in the spy network by having my voice captured and having facial recognition done. And now the Amazon Sidewalk can then, in theory, capture my phone Bluetooth identity and RFIDs on my person and my vehicle. And then Sidewalk can determine the location of each device. Most of you watching my videos are living in free countries. But some of you live under the control of some repressive government. Or in my case, when I was young, I had the experience of living under a dictatorship. So I'm always bothered by large amounts of surveillance data captured by third parties and perhaps being shared to governments by government contracts. In a repressive government, the job of the government and keeping the current people in power is of course to shut down dissidents. If you disagree with the government in some way, you will be silenced. In a supposedly democratic government like the USA, don't be so certain you are that free either. You can be targeted and classified as belonging to a certain group, and historically this has led to being denied opportunities or being subjected to fake messaging or even threats. In case you didn't know, Amazon is one of the largest contractors to the US government. In fact, most of the computer systems in the government likely operate inside the Amazon cloud called Amazon AWS. If you read the terms of service of all of these different products, you will find that they frequently state that they don't sell their data. However, there's always a statement that exempts what is required by law. My point is that this is a lot of power to give to a single entity. By allowing them this power, there's a lot of temptation to use it. In Terminator, Skynet was supposed to be just a defensive system. But once the cat is out of the bag and you've handed the power to someone, in this case the complete power of surveillance, how do you control it? How do you make sure it is not abused? How do you take it back? A company called Palantir is poised to utilize this kind of data for mercenary purposes. Palantir is another government contractor. They are a company that uses data for offensive purposes, to manipulate people. As a contractor, they will get access to this kind of data, justified of course by anti-terrorist objectives. Now you've given multiple big tech companies incredible power to control each and every one of us and our own devices. From the voice capture, they know our thoughts. From the cameras, they know our connections. From device tracking, they know who is nearby and who we associate with. Every one of our destinations is known. And now, even without a cell connection, a device can be connected to a secret network and remote control. This is just one company. Google, of course, collects another big glob of information like our search habits, our device activities, and our thoughts through our email, and again through voice via Google Assistant. In the case of Google, I can leave my phone home. I can choose to have a de-Google phone and not use Gmail or Google Search. There are still ways for me to evade their tracking. In the case of Amazon Sidewalk, the tracking is environmental. In fact, some hotels are installing Amazon Echo in every room. So it's a case where I'm not deliberately participating in this loss of privacy, but I'm being locked into it by others. And this is why I hate this even more. My choices are being controlled by those that choose not to listen to any privacy concerns. And this is going too far. Those that bought an Echo did not buy it to participate in an Amazon Sidewalk network. And if you have one in your home, you did not ask permission of your guests to have their voice captured and their photos sent to a central database or their devices tracked. Should those who have Amazon Echo and Ring opt out of Amazon Sidewalk? To be honest, small moves aren't going to make a difference. And this makes me very, very mad. What needs to happen is that large numbers of people need to stop using these devices completely. Throw them away. Turn them into target shooting pucks. Sadly, I know it won't happen, so we are all zucked. Thank you for watching. See you next time.